Social media is making you lazy. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why social media is making you lazy and why you need to stop. And the first reason is that the primary purpose of any social media platform is to keep you consuming. Think about it. If I am a social media platform, if I'm trying to create the best possible social media platform, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to want as many people as possible to spend as much time on my platform as possible. So if I had a platform, for example, that people spent on average 10 minutes on, and then there's another platform that on average people are spending an hour on, 2 hours on every day, which platform is going to be more successful? Well, of course, it's going to be the one that people spend more time on. And that's because attention is the biggest currency right now. The number one currency in the world is attention. And how are people getting attention? How are these social media platforms getting attention? Well, they're trying to keep you on the platform for as long as possible. What is their strategy for doing that? How are they trying to keep you on the platform for as long as possible? Well, very simply, they're trying to see, how can I have the user release as much dopamine as possible when they use my platform? If you guys don't know what dopamine is, very simply, it's just the chemical that's released in your brain that makes you feel good. So that's why we're seeing a huge shift in all of these social media platforms to the shorter form content. Think about it. Instagram, what did they have? They had images, cool, they were nice, but what are they really pushing right now? The Reels. Same with YouTube. YouTube Shorts are getting pushed hard. Why is that? It's because in a swipe of a finger, someone is effectively receiving a movie, a colorful, bright, stimulating movie that's been condensed down into 10 to 30 seconds that is specifically catered for their exact needs. There are strong algorithms in place to provide you the most interesting, the most stimulating content related to what you enjoy. And why do they do that? Well, it's because it's going to release the most dopamine possible. If you were on live TV, let's say 10 years ago, you're just flipping around channels, right? There's probably not a whole lot of things that really interested you. There might be a few things that are kind of catered to your interest, but the vast majority of stuff is kind of boring. But right now, you can literally pull something out of your pocket and instantly get 50, 100, 1,000, a million different videos that are 100% catered to your interests, to what interests you right now, at the click of a button. And that is releasing the most dopamine that you can possibly imagine. And that's why this short form content is going crazy, because these social media platforms have realized this is how we can release as much dopamine from the user as possible. Now you might be thinking, okay, cool. If I use these social media platforms, I feel good. Isn't that a good thing? Well, not really, because the issue with the dopamine that you receive from social media, from this short form content, from any form of social media really, is that you're receiving achievement-free dopamine. Now what I mean by that is you're receiving dopamine, your brain is making you feel good, reinforcing a behavior that hasn't actually moved you towards any of your goals. It hasn't moved you forward in any way in life. And what's interesting is achievement-free dopamine has only really been around for maybe 100 years. Evolutionarily, there was literally nothing in our environment that could provide us with achievement-free dopamine without some sort of a reward, without some sort of achievement, without some sort of sacrifice. You would have had to do something. You would have had to achieve something that moved you forward, moved the people around you forward in your life to receive some sort of dopamine. 100 years ago, the television got invented, right? That was the first time we properly saw achievement-free dopamine. And even then, 100 years ago, if you really think about it, who's watching black and white TV for 8 hours a day? It's honestly just more boring than going outside. But these days, you can literally pull a supercomputer out of your pocket and instantly get 1,000 different flashing colors with specific micro movies catered to your exact needs that you can pull out at any time of the day, anytime you want. Anytime you feel this feeling of boredom, this feeling that no one really feels anymore, but it's more of like an itch. We kind of have like this impulse, we need to get a bit of dopamine. We can just pull this out and receive insane amounts of dopamine. And when we receive this achievement-free dopamine, when we receive something that we were not designed to achieve, what happens is that everything compared to receiving that dopamine is worse, because the relative dopamine that you receive from doing any activity, like exercising, like doing work, like talking with friends, is so much less than you get when you're on your device, when you're stimulated, when you're receiving that dopamine. So everything becomes worse. And when everything becomes worse, everything becomes more difficult. And when everything becomes more difficult, you don't want to do it. So if that workout that I was really wanting to do is suddenly significantly more difficult because my brain is just thinking you need to watch more TikTok because that provides you the most dopamine, it's going to be so much harder for you to do that workout than to just pull your phone out and just trigger that dopamine, because we weren't designed for these things whatsoever. If you guys are enjoying this, if you would like to learn more, I have a completely free course on how to dopamine detox, how to rewire your brain to love working hard. You can check that out at school.com/modernmonk. I'll also leave a link in the description below. Now, the second reason why social media is making you lazy is because it's creating a false sense of reality. People project ideas of their lives onto social media. They send you the highlights, they show you the best stuff, and even then, they probably edited it, they probably have more colors to make it more stimulating, to make it more interesting. So you're really receiving a highlight reel of someone's life that is not even the actual reality. It's been augmented, it's been edited, and then you consume that all day. You spend hours a day looking at augmented reality of the highlights of people's lives, and you go, damn, my life absolutely sucks. But guess what? Their lives aren't that great either, but you don't know that. Your brain's just thinking, this person is doing so amazingly well, they've accomplished so much, they've done all these things, and you've done nothing. And what happens if you think deep down, I'm a failure compared to all this other stimulus, all these other people I'm watching, is you're going to feel pretty bad about yourself. You're going to be like, damn, life isn't great right now. The reality is, those people's lives that they're projecting, that they're presenting, that's not reality at all. That's not how they live their life. That's a small highlight reel. That's a small package. It's been edited. It's been curated. So you have a completely false sense of what reality is. And not only are you receiving a huge amount of dopamine, a huge amount of stimulation from this, but it's making you feel bad about yourself. Your self-esteem, your self-confidence is going to significantly drop when comparatively everyone else seems to be doing so much better than you. You will just subconsciously think, I am doing terribly, because at the end of the day, humans are deep down status creatures. We're always competing against other people. We're always trying to find ways to be better than others. But when subconsciously you think, I am worse than everyone else, because compared to what you see online, you are worse than everyone else, you are going to feel absolutely terrible about yourself. And the problem is, your brain is reinforcing you to continue to consume things that make you feel terrible about yourself, because they also stimulate a huge amount of dopamine. So it's reinforcing you to continue to consume more and more and more of this, even though deep down it makes you feel horrible about yourself. So it's this really bad feedback loop where not only is everything becoming more difficult in your life, everything's becoming harder because comparatively you're receiving so much more dopamine from just looking at your screens, but you're also feeling a lot worse about yourself. Your self-esteem is down, your confidence is down, you think that you're falling behind in life, when reality is you're just seeing a highlight reel. And the final reason why social media is making you lazy is because it is a massive, massive time suck. There was a study that came out recently and it showed that the average person is consuming 82 hours of information every single week. 82 hours. That is nearly 70% of your waking hours is spent consuming information, just taking in just insane amounts of information all the time. If someone said to you, I worked an 82-hour week, you'd be like, wow, that person worked really, really hard. They probably just put a huge amount of effort in. But if someone said to you, I've consumed 82 hours of information, that's just what everyone is doing all the time. 82 hours, imagine if you got even a fraction of that back. Imagine if you cut down from 82 hours to 20. That is 62 hours that you've just got back. If I could tell you, here's 62 hours, you'd be like, I can accomplish so much with that. That's more than a full-time job that I can put into my ambitions, put into my goals. Instead, we're consuming so much information that we don't need. We're always thinking, what's happening with this person? What's happening with that person? What's happening in this political race? Or who just died? What car accident just happened? What plane crash just happened? We're consuming all of this information. It's a lot of frequency, it's a lot of noise, and it's distracting us. It's keeping us distracted from what we're trying to achieve. And it's the same thing with social media when you're consuming people's lives, is that you're always projecting, you're always thinking outwards about what's going on with other people. You're never thinking about what are you doing yourself. So it's draining all this time, pulling all your attention in 50 different ways away from where you want to be. And overall, it's just making you a worse version of yourself. It's reducing your internal state of, I feel pretty bad about myself now. I kind of hate my life because I'm doing so much worse than everyone else. I've also just lost a huge amount of time. I've just lost an insane amount of time that I could have been spending actually working on myself, actually improving myself. And I've absolutely destroyed my brain. I've fried my dopamine receptors. I've wired my brain in a way that reinforces and encourages me to give myself worse mental health. So that is exactly why social media is making you lazy. If you like this video, please like, please subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you on the next video.